Just listen, you'll glisten, cause you'll be so happy. Our podcast is random talk on this and on that. But what did you expect from potatoes and fat? Yeah, what did you expect from potatoes and fat? Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to the first ever podcast, Twitch cast with Spud and Addy. I'm Addy, and this is Spud.
Oh.
And basically, the idea is we talk about lots of different cool things. We'll be talking about computer games, news, current affairs, movies, superheroes, chip in with anything here, life, the world, religion, politics, death, this thing on my desk, and stuff.
And cake. I like cake.
Oh, cake. Awesome. What's your favorite kind of cake?
Birthday cake. So icing, vanilla sponge, buttercream, jam.
It's kind of boring. But then again, you know, I know when I go to the staff room and I'm like, you know, I'm expecting a biscuit and I go there and there's cake, I get very, very excited. But then you got to be careful because there's icing. And then there's too much icing. Do you know what I mean? Like you look at it and you kind of go, no, if I have that, I will actually be sick.
Yes.
Or do you just...
No, I completely agree. And your teeth actually start to hurt as you're eating it. It's like, wow, so much sugar. Jeez.
And you like get halfway through and you've just got this mouthful of icing and you're just like, oh dear God, I can't swallow this. If I swallow this, I will be ill.
And I don't know about you, in my workplace, I've got a reputation as being like the office bin. Oh, I've got some spare food. Hey, do you want this food? And normally I say yes. This is probably why the reputation has come about. It's like people just randomly leave leftover food on my desk. The director of my department regularly leaves his fruit on my desk. Oh, I've got some peaches I don't want. Do you want them? And I shamefully eat them.
That's an office. I kind of get people coming up to me. I think it's because I'm a little bit larger than the average guy. Just people coming up to me and being like, you know, they have a spare chocolate bar and they just kind of walk past and they go, you'll like this, random fat guy. Clearly, here's some spare food, so you can have this. And I'm always like, why did you not give it to the thin girl here, or the really the fit individual here? It's almost like people kind of go, look, you're fat, you'll like all my food. The sad thing is, I normally do, but that's not the point. I feel as principal, I have to turn it down and moan.
Yeah, well, it's completely reverse. It should be. He shouldn't have this. But this thin person who obviously works off their calories, they should have it. Yeah. Would you like this chocolate bar? But then you'd probably moan at that as well. So, why are you not offering me the chocolate bar? Because. No,
I guess it's like the human instinct that you're trying to be nice to people. Like you see someone that kind of likes like nice dresses and something, and you have something to say about nice dresses, so you're going to go, oh look, here's a nice dress to the nice dressed person. Or you see someone that likes movies, and so you see movies, and so you see a fat person, so you offer them some food. But it's just a little bit offensive. It's just that people just assume that you do. But oh well, life goes on. Anyway, so the basic format of SpudAdi is we take it in turns to introduce a topic, and then we talk about it, and it goes all over whatever we're going to discuss. So we're going to toss a coin to see who gets to go first. Oh, and it's me. It's me.
Was that a digital coin?
It is me. Well, the first ever toss on the SpudAdi show is won by me. This is quite a moment. Anyway, I want to talk about Hulk Hogan. And we've got to be careful how we talk about this one because this is a controversial topic. Hulk Hogan, obviously hero to millions, brother, this week was exposed or caught being very, very racist. And it transpires today, follow-up story, quite homophobic as well. Spud, are you aware of this story?
I missed the follow-up story, so please enlighten me as well.
Well, basically, the whole kind of story goes like this. 8 years ago, so this is a distant thing, 8 years ago, Hulk Hogan did the business, did the naughty thing with his friend's wife, which is weird at the best of times, but okay. He did the thing with his friend's wife. It gets weirder because she filmed it, but he didn't know. And then in this video, he says all this kind of racist and homophobic stuff, allegedly. Let me just put that all there before we get sued. But it's all over the web. Have a look. And then 8 years later, somehow someone gets hold of this tape and some website, like Gawker.com or something like that, tries to release this as a sex tape. Now, the thing is, the thing about sex tapes is that if it's a gorgeous female celebrity, then it's wrong and it's inappropriate and it's an invasion of privacy, but most men will click on it. However, if it's Hulk Hogan, I mean, who goes kind of like, you know what? Oh, Hulk Hogan sex tape? Great, let's have a look. Let's see what that's like. No one clicks on it. So no one really cares other than Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan cares, so he has sued the website which has got hold of this sex tape. But what they've done in kind of response to being sued by Hulk Hogan for this sex tape is they've started releasing bits of the sex tape. And in the bits of the sex tape, it has Hulk Hogan being racist and apparently homophobic. And WWE, who are the biggest wrestling company in the world, who Hulk Hogan currently works for, have fired him and attempted to delete him from their website. And in fact, they have deleted him from their website. So clearly now everyone in the whole world has forgotten that he ever worked for them. I mean, when I think WrestleMania 3, I just think Andre versus who was it?
He slipped up, didn't he? And he just got counted out on the mat or something. I don't. I mean, I didn't even know who you were talking about.
He just lost the title. Like literally, just lost the title. I couldn't find it.
And there was that really, really boring film that was. It was called Suburban Commando, but it was just loads of empty scenes and things blowing up. It's strange. That was weird as well. I don't know about that. But yeah.
So this story just seems to be Hogan screwing himself over repeatedly.
And there's the other thing that all the British football fans that I mentioned to you the other day are trolling him. Like,
really? What are they doing? What Paul Hogan?
They're posting. They're because he's a big retweeter. And normally, if you say, "Hey, it's my birthday, I'm a big Hulkamaniac. Would you retweet this?" He's going to retweet it. So these people are trolling him mainly about British celebrities and footballers. So he's got a picture of Aaron Ramsey and I think a Chamberlain. Someone like a black footballer and a white footballer, and he's going, "Oh, this is me and my black friend. We know you're not racist, Hulkster. Give us a retweet." And he's retweeting it, and it's obviously not Aaron Ramsey sending it. And there was another one with Katie Price and her son, and it's going, "Well, yeah, this is my son. It's his birthday. Can you give us a retweet?" Well, you know you're not. And they just keep doing it over and over with different.
Oh wait! Didn't I hear about? Didn't someone send him? And this is wrong. Like that killer. And he retweeted the killer or something.
Yeah, he's retweeted the killer, and he's retweeted the horrible individual that trapped his daughter and made her pregnant. That and said, "Oh, someone tweeted him with that picture saying this is my granddad, and it's his 89th birthday. And he's having a hard time. Would you retweet him for support?" And they even put his name on there. This is his name.
Hogan.
I can't remember his name. You know the guy in the basement. And they eventually escaped.
Joseph. Something.
Yeah, and he retweeted it. He just obviously has no idea what's going on outside of big boots and leg drops.
Of the wrestling world. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, apparently he's now not only is there racist connotations, it also has homophobic connotations as well. Like I obviously don't want to use the language on the show, and that'd be wrong if we do. But he's used the N word for the racist term, and he's used the F word for the homophobic term, and. I'm not really sure there's going to be much way back for him on this one. I mean, obviously, it's lovely for nostalgia purposes to see Hogan here and there, but I can't really see him appearing on a mainstream thing for a very long time. He'd have to do one of those like, he'd have to do one of those like Oprah Winfrey style like apologies, when they go on like a chat show thing and they cry they kind of talk about how they were like, beaten up as a child by, I don't know, large black gay men or something like that, and then kind of justify it in some stupid way. I don't know.
Or he could go on those shows and just do a wrestling interview. Hey, well, let me tell you, little Hulkamaniacs and stuff like that. If any of this ever got to court, I hope he defends himself and gives a proper wrestling promo with
with the prayers and the training and the vitamins and the racism. Yeah, no, you can see. Yeah. So that's the end, probably the end of Hulk Hogan. He's also been removed from WWE 2K16, so the next computer game that he was supposed to be in. He's been whipped out straight away. He's gone. Oh, right. Anyway, that's Addy's turn.
Just to add quickly, I don't know if you read, but when someone asked, "Is there any plans to remove him from older WWE games?" they didn't say no. They didn't say yes, but they didn't say no as well.
How could they remove him from an old game that someone's already paid for?
That's the thing. With the age of digital, they could just patch it, I guess. Or if there's any games where he's DLC, that would probably be done. I mean, this is getting more common with publishers controlling the content that you've bought after you bought it.
That's wrong. I mean, just in a general thing, that's wrong, to kind of remove something that you've already paid for, especially due to like real world events. Although I suppose I suppose, say he did something really bad, and obviously racism and stuff is really bad, but, like, ultra bad, like murder or something like that, you wouldn't necessarily want to go down and then see your, like, little kid kind of playing, like, Hulk Hogan in a wrestling game with that. So, you can kind of see how they might want to go with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Spud's turn. Over to you. What do you want to talk about?
I'm changing the subject from the world of wrestling to the world of comics. Comics and animation, to be precise. Now, do you like Batman?
Of course I do. Everyone loves Batman. I mean, obviously, I'm not a mega fan like you like Batman, but, I watch the movies, I play the computer games.
Do you like the Joker?
I do.
Have you heard of a famous comic called The Killing Joke?
Isn't this the one that's being remade in the Suicide Squad or something like that, or am I confused?
Well, yeah, there's rumours that lends to it, but no. What it is? DC announced that they're making, and it's being released next year, but they're in the middle of making it at the moment. It's an animated version of The Killing Joke, which is one of the most famous and loved, mainly Joker stories there is, and it kind of delves into a possible origin story for Joker, and. Don't know if it's true because I think it even might be The Killing Joke that he says it. If I'm going to have an origin story, I want it to be multiple choice. So you never quite know when he's telling the truth about the origin story. But the voice that many people view, the voice, Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, has now been confirmed after his retirement, his second retirement from doing the Joker. So retired in 2010.
Because I remember him saying this will be my last, and then didn't he do Arkham?
Yeah. So
City?
he retired in 2010 after an animated series. It could have been the Batman and the Future or something. I think he comes back in that and he does a voice in that. So he's retired then, and then when Arkham Asylum came out, he came out of retirement. Then after Arkham City, he went back into retirement, and when that's it. He even said it's like medically his throat, he can't do that voice anymore. Even though
because the voice is all like, it's a proper like, you couldn't do it for hours and hours.
Well, when I first heard that was Mark Hamill, when somebody, who that is? That's Mark Hamill. What? Luke Skywalker? Yeah. No, I was like, I remember. No way. And I looked up and I was like, oh my god, it is. Anyway, so yeah, then he's come out of retirement again and didn't even announce it for Arkham Knight. So.
Yeah.
Spoilers, sorry everyone, but he flashbacks and etc in the game. His voice is in the game, so there was lots of tweets as well. I saw some tweets going, "Hey, you lied!" Not that I'm upset, and he's like, "Oh, surprise, I did lie," and all this, so he's quite honest that he lied about it.
I think he's going to carry on then.
But now he's going.
What do you think about the origin story thing? Because I remember when I watched The Dark Knight Rises for Dark Knight, sorry, for the first time, and you get that first. The Joker kind of goes, "Oh, let me tell you, I got these scars." And he gives you that story. I remember my first thought being, "Oh, no, don't explain, where that came from. Don't kind of justify, your actions." And then later on, there was that genius moment where he goes to someone else and goes, "Let me tell you, I got these scars," and does it in a completely different story. And it's like, yes, great, he's insane. So, I mean, what do you think about? Do you want them to give an origin story?
Well, no. When they tackled it in the comics, and I think obviously because most of these DC animated ones, I don't know if you watched any, but a lot of them are very close to the comics. It's like an animated version of the comic, which is why it's so great. He does play it in the comic like, am I telling the truth? Even though it's kind of like in his head, it's still ambiguous. And the main Joker, there's always a possibility that he's lying. You never can tell the truth. I mean, this particular one it's quite good, and it explains it, and it would fit into what my idea of why the Joker is like the way he is, like tragedy has caused that. But I mean, the fact that Mark Hamill's now getting properly both feet into the voice acting of the Joker is great news. And now there's even today I've just read there's a Kevin Conroy, Conroy, the guy.
Oh, that's the Batman guy, isn't it?
He said, well, if Mark Hamill's doing that, he'd love to do Batman. Which those two, for me, their voices are Batman and the Joker. I mean,
they were the animated series one, weren't they?
I did love Christian Bale's "Where is she?" And those voices were brilliant.
Where are the drugs going?
Bring to me. That's brilliant. And Jack Nicholson, all brilliant. But Mark Hamill, if you could just take the voice of the Joker, he's got it just perfect for me. So I'm very happy about that.
Well, there was always that like bizarre thing when Bane turned up in Dark Knight Rises with the whole like, "Oh, Batman," type thing, and it was like, and everyone kind of kicked off saying, "Oh, this voice is ridiculous," and it's like, but the voices in Batman have always been ridiculous. I mean, come on, where are the drugs going, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they're just absurd.
Yeah, but no, hang on. Well, Batman. See, people say Christian Bale did that first. The whole, "Oh, hi, I'm Bruce Wayne. Where is she?" when he's got the Batman.
Where is she?
But That was in the animated. You know, when you saw Bruce Wayne, he was like, "Oh, hi, I'm Bruce Wayne," and then he's a bit deeper and a bit gruffer when he's thingy. I think you brought up a brilliant point once. Is that in the Arkham games, obviously, when you're going to do something, it kind of gives you a hint, but it's still in Batman's voice. So why is he thinking like that as well? Which was brilliant. Like, I need to go up there. No one's in the room with you. You're on your own. You're actually thinking this. You're obviously insane. But
yeah, but maybe, but it would be really bizarre if, like, you know, he's walking around being Batman and his head is kind of going, I should go over there. I should go and check that out. Oh, that looks like the Joker.
I need to somehow get this grade off. Maybe I can use those things over there.
But it's method acting. Batman's just remaining in character. That's what he's doing.
A lot of people say Batman is just insane as the Joker. Just on the flip side of it.
Yeah. I've heard it.
Right, Eddie.
Right, my turn.
Yep, go.
Okay, I want to talk about little games. Those of you that are watching my Twitch channel, YouTube channel, which is theadiposetv.com, if you're watching this on the podcast, I do some games for ages, and I do other tiny little games. And over this week, I've done 3 tiny little games. I've completed a game called Contrast, a game called Fez, and a game called Limbo. So I just wanted to kind of have a little chat about, you know, what are your favourite little games? And while you're thinking about that, let me tell you about Limbo.
You've sprung this. So many stories. You go.
Limbo it was made in about 2010. It's one of, you know how you got those games that are like, oh, I always wanted to play ... You know, oh, I should always get around to playing ... And Limbo's been one of those for ages and ages. And I think I even got as far as loading it up once, and I think I got stuck on the very first puzzle. But today I finally got around to it, and oh dear God, it was so hard. I completed it. It took me about 4 hours, and I think the average running time was about 3. But it was things, you'd get things like, you know, in front of you would be a button, and onto the other side of you would be a button, and there'd be a box, and you'd have to get, like, you know, up a little bit, and you'd be like, well, I've got 2 buttons and a box. There's only so many possible combinations of buttons and boxes I can do to try and do this. And I still can't do it. And then you start doing things like, you know, you walk all the way to the left-hand side of the screen, and you walk all the way to the right-hand side of the screen, or you search around thinking, there must be something else. There must be some reason why I cannot do these 2 buttons and a box. And eventually you go, oh, and it is using the 2 buttons and a box, but it's just using it in ways you hadn't thought of before. Or it was very, very, very creative, but it was a masterclass in making you feel stupid. You know, like games, the kind of game where you sit there for ages going, I don't know what to do. And then eventually you work it out, or someone kind of tells you, and you go, oh, I'm an idiot. And so you just basically spent 3 hours going, I'm an idiot. But it was great. And I can see why it won so many Game of the Year awards.
that feeling that you said about, oh, but before that, the pure hatred and frustration. And it's like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Why can't I do this?
In my younger days, some SNES and N64 control pads got flung. Oh, you will get flung. It's not a small game. And I thought of some cool small games that I love. But Zelda Ocarina of Time. That had one of the things. It was really simple. And I got into this dungeon. I can't remember what dungeon it was. It involved water. You had to lower the water, and I was looking around. I was like, "Well, I've lowered the water. Now what?" And it was obviously you had to lower the water to go under the bridge to get a switch. And it was so simple. Yeah. And I've obviously completed far harder puzzles getting to this point. And it took me. This is before the internet. Well, before I had access to it, or dial-up internet.
Before GameFAQs. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, and I was considering ringing the Nintendo helpline in the booklet, you know,
I remember them. Oh, wow.
Insane. And then I found it, and I just felt like, oh, God. I spoke about it publicly, so it's quite good.
Oh, well, I'm glad we were here to kind of get it off your chest. Have you got any other favourite little games?
Well, but it's funny you say the games you chose. They've all, like you did say, actually, critically acclaimed, like Game of the Year contenders for all the years they were in. And the one that springs to mind that I was late to get to, Journey.
Journey is amazing. I've done that 2 or 3 times now.
And the other one, which I would say, and I didn't really.
Before you go on, I mean, let's talk about Journey. Because Journey was one of the ones that took you ages to play, didn't it? You played it on PS4, didn't you, rather than PS3?
No, I played it on PS3. I have just it's now free on the PS4, so I am going to play through it again as well. But I waited. I think you suggested play in one playthrough, don't stop, and just experience the journey.
Yeah, because it was a game, and this kind of game is getting more and more popular now, where it's not about difficulty and it's not about challenge. It's about an experience in the same way that you might experience a movie. You know, Journey was a game where you start off and it takes you on this emotional ride, and you feel a bit of an. I mean, I'm aware that when I'm just using phrases like emotional ride, that probably there's people that are listening to this kind of going, an emotional ride, but it does. But before you judge, play it. Play it in one sitting, and take 2.5 hours, about movie length, and just play it from beginning to end. And despite the fact that it's a game, and despite the fact there's almost no words in it at all, and despite the fact that it's very, very easy, it takes you on an emotional ride. You go from kind of neutralness to kind of excitement to kind of fun to kind of depression to kind of glee to joy to relief, and you get to the end and you go, wow. That was a journey,
and it's so short as well. Like you said, like 2.5 hours, but at the end of it, it feels like you just went on this epic journey. Which, like these 200+ hours role playing games probably just about match up to the kind of the same vibe you get at the end. It's like, after all that journey, I'm here, and it's only 2.5 hours though. So far more experienced people in games media have said that it's like one of the most emotional games ever. So. I agree with that. And if people out there are disagreeing with it and you've played it, then where is your heart? Where is your heart?
Where is your heart? And it has that bizarre thing of it's multiplayer, but not really multiplayer, in that you're traveling around and other players join you, but you can't speak to them, you can't talk to them. So there's no microphones or anything like that. And the only interaction you can do is like these little kind of whistles. There's a button you can press and your character kind of goes, woo, type thing, or beep, and that's it. And you can't hinder each other, but you can help each other. If you've got two players around, they can kind of help each other. And so you meet these little people and you kind of help each other for a little bit. And if you get separated, you get separated. And if you stay together, you stay together. And I think it was the second person I met. I stayed with them for ages. Like we must have spent like a kind of an hour traveling together. And you get emotionally attached to your little buddy, even though that you don't know who they are. It's probably some 13-year-old over the other side of the world who's picking his nose and his mum's yelling at him at the same time. But, this is when you're in that journey, this is your little buddy as you kind of walk around going, boo, boo, boo. And, and you walk across like little lands, just singing to each other. And then right at the end of the game, it says you played with, and it gives you the names of people you played with. And I'm kidding you not, I spent about an hour playing with a person dancing around called Mr. Shit.
That's always the best. That happened to me as well. I through my play. Mr. Shit, brilliant. Through my playthrough, the first guy I played, and it didn't ruin the experience. It didn't. It kind of like added another story to tell. So it's like,
a story to your story.
Like, complete douchebag. He was jumping around and all over my head, and he just went off to the other side of the thing. And when I was trying to get somewhere, he was just, like he was right on his. From his view on his screen, I'm going to be getting in his face. Yeah. And it's like, oh, God, frick us. So I finally got there and I got rid of him. I just got to the end of the level and ignored him, even though he was jumping all around me. And then the next guy, though, because obviously, like I played it the first time all the way through to the end, the next guy was like going somewhere and going, beep, beep, boo, boo, and that's to me. And I was like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's another bit of the scarf. Oh, you're helping me. So that guy was cool. And I played right to the end of the second guy. But and like you said, I don't know which one's which. I don't know if the first one is on top or the bottom, but one of them's called My Giant Sack or something along those lines. And that's quite descriptive of him.
How do you... I was reading an article the other day. It must have been more than the other day, a while about the fact that you can't change your PSN. And there's a campaign from people who, unfortunately, when they were 13 or 14, called themselves Mr. Shit or My Giant Sack, and have since bought loads of DLC, loads of games. They've got a huge amount of content on their PSN, but they can't change the name of it. So they're now sitting there with their mother-in-laws and their girlfriends and their, human beings being like, Mr. Shit.
Well, I've told you this story before. It was, I think, Greg Miller, who used to be on IGN. He started it, and he was like Yoshida, I think, the guy who's in charge of PS. Someone out there, I'm sure, will correct me.
Yeah.
About anyway on Twitter, and it's like tweet your bad PSN, and he had the worst PSN names of the week, kind of thing, as a feature. And one of the best stories is like, hi, I've been going out with my girlfriend for 3 years, and you need to change the PSN name, and I'm going to tell you why. So, my girlfriend and her family, they're quite religious, and we're all sitting around my house, and my parents were there, and her parents were there, and we were playing Buzz. Is it Buzz, the quiz game with the buzzers?
Yeah, little quiz game.
Yeah.
We
were playing that, and it all selected, and then it come to me, and I selected my place, and the parents gasped. because my name was "Come in my bum" or something disgusting. No, I think it was a little bit pedo-y. It just didn't sound right. Like I love kids or something really weird.
Nice.
And they went, "Who's that?" And his girlfriend covered for him, and he was like, "Oh, that's just some random person on the internet." And then apparently his girlfriend's parents were going, "Some people are disgusting. Why would you have that as a name?" And the girlfriend kept looking at him, going, "I don't know, Mum. Why would you have that as a name?" He's like, "Please let me change my name." Oh, some of these names. Because at the time, it must seem like I'm a genius. I am so funny.
I'm so funny. I've got a rude PSN name. It's like
in a massive way. I am the man. And then a couple of years later, when you're an adult, oh, sorry about that. Oh dear. Oh, brilliant.
Apparently, there's an inbuilt thing in human beings that we have a need to swear. Like it's like we go for our rudest words. Like when we hurt ourselves, when we're angry, we use naughty words. And I don't remember this story, but this is a true story. When I was like, just learning to speak, I grew up in a very religious household. There wasn't very much swearing around, so I didn't have a swearing vocabulary in my head. I didn't know the F word, the C word, and all that kind of stuff. And I whacked myself on something, and my little baby brain computed and went straight to I need to say the worst word I can possibly come up with. And I turned around to my mother and went, "Nappies!"
They got put in the nappies.
And so I guess that PSN thing is an extension of that. You get to 13 years old and you're like, right, I'm going to do the rudest thing I can possibly come up with. And then you end up, when you're 20-year-old, kind of going, oh, God, my PSN name is in fact, bum.
Well, yes, I'm normally a lot worse. But some of these names around out was so good. But yeah, not, nappies is quite good. That's all right. But I've added people on PSN that I work with, so it's a good job I never had like fuckface or something like that. Oh yeah, with my boss and stuff. Right,
my turn.
I believe it's my turn.
Oh, sorry, your turn. Yes, go ahead.
Right. Ooh, what to pick off my list of news? Let's Netflix and more superhero stuff. I'm in a superhero mood today.
Okay.
So Netflix have announced today that, because people are wondering after the success of Daredevil. Have you watched Daredevil yet?
No, it's on my list of things to do.
Don't watch Daredevil. Just stop the podcast now. Go watch it. Bye, everyone. No, joking. Yeah, so after that, that's got season 2. And the original plan was to have Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Daredevil, and then they were all going to meet up in the Defenders, which is like a kind of like a second-class Avengers, like cheaper kind of thing. But now because of that, they've got a second series. Daredevil, because it's critically acclaimed. Everyone loved it. I loved it, and for me, it was one of those shows where it was like I was there in bed really quietly with my tablet with my headphones on, and the missus is asleep, everyone's asleep, and I'm like, okay, it's 12 o'clock.
There needs to be like a word for that. Like there needs to be, how like they invent new, like spork. How like a spork is a spoon and a fork. There needs to be like a new word for like sneakily watching video under the covers or texting in bed or something. Maybe there is a word.
Yeah, I need to think. I'll try and invent one. But yeah, and it's just it's just one more, and then the next day I was like, I'm wrecked because I went to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I had to know what was going to happen to Kingpin, and the next what's going to happen. So yeah, because of this, they're now going to go on 6 monthly cycles as soon as they've got everything launched. Every 6 months, you're going to get a new series of something, and it's going to end that 6 monthly cycle eventually with the Defenders, and then eventually all the way back to the end, it's going to have another series of Defenders. And now, because season 2's come out, this is no spoilers for you, obviously Daredevil's not going to die, especially in the first series.
What? Oh, now there's no point in me watching any of it.
Yeah, so The Punisher's been announced, which is a big shock for most people because he's a major character. Maybe they were going to go with a film, but no, he's actually a supporting cast member for Daredevil. And they've said, depending on the reception on Daredevil season 2, he might get his own series as well. So
there's been a few Punisher movies, haven't they? But they've never done well. They were some of the ones like before the the big superhero push that came along with Spider-Man and everything kind of since then. There were a few Punishers and a few Captain Americas, but they were never any good.
No, I agree. I mean, they were good at the time because everyone was desperate for a superhero film. So when I saw Spider-Man from the late 70s and he was jumping around those
Oh,
guys with the sticks, you know the film. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
wow, Spider-Man. But now looking back on it, it was the worst film in the world. And yeah, Punisher's had two films, I think, three actually. He had the one with John Travolta, and then he had another one with a guy. And the one I can't remember, I think I remember liking the most because it was quite close to the comics again. But if this time it's done like as good as the Daredevil was done, it's nailed it so much.
So what's the gimmick of Punisher? Like, give me a 30-second course thing on his story. So revenge for his family, or isn't it?
He was like an army veteran and then like Secret Service retired with his family, and his family got gunned down in different origin stories. Some say it's revenge, some say it's just a random killing, and then he breaks, and that's it. He's like the superhero just kills. But he's got no superpowers. He's more like Batman. Apart from Batman's rule is not to kill. He just goes out and just blows everyone away, and that's it. But because of this, he normally runs. He has like fights with the goody two shoes heroes like Spider-Man and Daredevil and Captain America.
Do you think superheroes in general suit the TV series genre better than the movie genre, because you can have so much more kind of development and things like that? Because obviously comics are very much,
I think,
a sequence of shorter stories all kind of putting together make a big thing. And the thing about movies is you've basically got 2.5 hours to do everything, and then you've got another film maybe 2 years later.
I think it all depends on the person. I think people like Captain America, for example, I think he's suited to films because Captain America is a little bit boring, even though I loved both his films. Well, he is. He's good with the two shoes, and he's the man.
His gimmick is he's got a shield.
Yeah, he's the man out of time, and he doesn't do wrong, and he's moral. Oh, he's so good and stuff like that. But people there's a case for Batman, Spider-Man, Daredevil's perfect, where they've got an other side of them, so it's not always in the costume. So Spider-Man could easily be a TV series. I think it would be too expensive to make because of the special effects, but it's like a high school teen drama and superhero. That's why Daredevil works, because he's a lawyer.
Well, that was effectively what Smallville was, wasn't it? A high school superhero.
But that is Spider-Man. Spider-Man was turned Spider-Man, I think 14, 15 was the proper age where he actually first got bitten. So a skinny little runt in a costume, and people are like, oh, he's a runt, and then he, picks up a car. But I think it all depends on if they have an interesting alter ego. So I think Bruce Wayne would work because he's a big time businessman. You could have like boardroom struggles and politics, and then he goes out and where is she?
Bruce Wayne plot lines where are the drugs going? Bruce Wayne plot lines in movies have never been particularly good because it's like I can kind of I was once a teenage boy, so I can empathize with a teenage Spider-Man, and if there's like a sad thing, like it's very hard for you to empathize with a businessman. Like you can empathize with someone who's lost their parents, because you can understand, that backstory, but you can't drag that out for a whole TV series. I'm not sure Batman, the Bruce Wayne element of
I would disagree with because they've already done a Batman series, and it's going into it.
What, Kasplat Bang?
No, it's Arrow. They basically they want Batman to be the big attraction. So they're not apart from Gotham, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's really just Bruce Wayne, little boy, and that's not the main focus. But Arrow is Batman. It's this wealthy guy, and he's gone away, and he's trained, and he's trapped on an island for that one. But you could easily convert that, and some of the villains, most of the villains are Batman villains. They're just not. They're just having. Sorry, go on.
Captain
Jack. Well, apart from him, but you've got Deathstroke, Batman villain mainly. Well, and Teen Titans and Justice League. Ra's al Ghul was in it. Ra's al Ghul's daughter, or the other daughter, not the main Batman daughter. And it's just he's a rich businessman that's gone away, and he has flashbacks to when he was training up, and they could easily have done a Batman series with that. And because Batman went away for 10 years to train to become Batman, they could have easily made a series. But I do like Arrow. It's very good.
I need to catch up with Arrow as well.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
when I say catch up, I mean start.
The last season wasn't as good, but it's still good. So yeah, it all depends on their alter ego. But Daredevil's brilliant. It's like LA Law and Daredevil in the evening.
I'm going to say something that's going to upset you about superhero movies.
Oh, okay. Come on then. Come on, bring on.
I think it's become oversaturated because I just think there's too many. I think you now have. When it first started and you had the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man was the really big comeback, wasn't it? When they really started to go, okay, let's have a sequence in the series. And then you had the Christopher Nolan Batmans, and then you had the Iron Man, which was also well received, and then you had a few little muck-ups along the way. The original Daredevil, Elektra. I know because I was in the cinema at the time, but by and large, the quality of superhero movies increased. But now you've got a whole wide range of superheroes having their own movies, and you're starting to get all of the collective movies as well. You know, Avengers, obviously, Superman versus Batman's kind of coming out, yada, 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 yada. And there's just an awful lot of them. And now, of course, you're getting the stuff, they're cashing in on kind of TV as well. And I like superhero movies, and I like superheroes, and I really enjoy the genre, but it's really starting to lose its, it's a superhero movie, type feel to it.
Yeah, I agree, because, before it was maybe once a year, and I think next year you've got Suicide Squad, you've got Batman versus Superman, you've got Captain America 3, Civil War, and those are just off the top of my head. I think, no, you've also got, I think X-Men is next year, and Deadpool's next year. So I don't even know how many I've just said. That's a lot.
Yeah,
but
too many.
Yeah, it is too many. But what they need to do, which they're doing at the moment, but I'm not sure if, they're very clever people. They're making films. They're getting involved. They're superhero films, first and foremost. But they're also they're toying with different genres. Like I just saw Ant-Man at the weekend, and that's like a bank heist comedy superhero film.
With the superhero.
Yeah, like Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier, very good. It was like an espionage spy film, superhero film. And then, you've still got your Supermans, which is just looking at each other through buildings and stuff all day long. But as long as they have the different genres, like Guardians of the Galaxy, that was like a Star Wars superhero film. It was very in space, family friendly, joking around.
I'm finding they're starting to get inaccessible to me though, because like I watched Defenders of the Galaxy. Sorry, Guardians of the Galaxy, and I loved it. I thought it was a brilliant movie. I thought they introduced all 4 or 5 of the main characters, really, really well. It was hilarious that the 60s music, kind of 60s, 70s music theme kind of running through it was really clever. Really enjoyed the movie. And then I went and watched Avengers: Age of Ultron. Probably whatever it came out like two months ago-ish. And I was lost throughout the whole thing because I've seen some superhero movies, but I haven't seen all of them. I'm not like a must go and see every single one. So I'd say I've seen a few. I've seen the Iron Man. I've seen some of the Captain Americas. Yada 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 yada. And I really didn't know who a whole bunch of these people were in the Avengers, because I hadn't seen all of the other kind of follow-up movies and the way they all kind of linked together and this and that and this and that and this and that. And it kind of, I felt that I was kind of watching a movie in a club that I was kind of no longer part of. And I think if another Avengers film came out, I might think twice about going, not because it might not be a good or a bad movie, but because I'll be like, well, I haven't seen this and that and this and that, and I haven't seen Thor 1 and the second Thor 1, and I haven't seen Black Widow, who I know was in that movie, and I think there's now comic book crossover in the Hulk, and do you know what I mean? It's getting, the world's got too big.
And I wouldn't want to be in charge of making the decision, the choices to have that included in more, because you can't. It's definitely a case of you can't please everyone, because you've got all the hardcore comic fans going, well, actually, I think you'll find that Spider-Man's supposed to be 5'8" and he's clearly 6'1", and therefore it's not like the comic books. And then you've got the other people going, I just want to see a really cool film. I know who Spider-Man is. Can I? Who's this guy? What are they referring to? And then you get a situation where everyone's asking someone in the cinema, and shut up, I'm trying to watch this. It's really interesting. It's just about the gem that was in the very first Iron Man film. I forgot about that. Brilliant. So yeah.
Well, I had to go and watch it afterwards because I didn't know what the hell was going on. In the Avengers, all of a sudden, Don Cheadle turned up in an Iron Man outfit. And I know it now because I've now gone and watched Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 and filled in those blanks. But at the time, I was literally like, what the hell is Don Cheadle doing with an Iron Man costume?
Well, number one, his character in the film isn't Don Cheadle.
He's Don Cheadle. Whatever film he's in, he's Don Cheadle.
Iron Man costume.
I thought the only superhero that Don Cheadle played was Captain Planet. And then I was like, what the hell is he doing? Captain Planet's not in the Avengers.
He's a hero. Sorry.
By the way, if you haven't seen Don Cheadle as Captain Planet, it's morally wrong, but Google it check it out on YouTube. You will probably laugh for a long time or be offended, one of the two. But either way, it's a very special bit of filmmaking. Have you seen it?
I have, yes. I thought it was brilliant. It was good. I didn't think that, to be completely honest, when he did turn up in Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, and the Avengers Age of Ultron, I didn't think, oh, Don Cheadle in an Iron Man costume. But then again, I am those.
See, Don Cheadle. So you didn't even know his real name.
I'm one of those people you were talking about that, like, literally has gone and see everything. So when they do drop something, I'm like, oh, they mentioned that thing.
References.
I was watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., another series from the comics involved in that universe as well. And they mentioned, just briefly, it was, I think because I'm behind, I've recorded them all. And they mentioned the twins from Age of Ultron. And because I knew what was happening, I was like, I get that reference. I understand.
Little fingers. Ah, okay. Well, I think I agree. They can't please everyone, and I think that is one of the downside of movies, is that someone's always going to hate your movie and someone's always going to dislike it, and so I guess they always kind of head for kind of the middle ground and just hope that their movie makes money. That's essentially why they're there.
They're making millions and millions and millions, so they've got no problem there at all.
Right, my turn.
Your turn.
Okay, so science current affairs. All right, so photographs of Pluto and the potential discovery of another Earth. I'm sure you guys have seen this on the news and seen various photographs and stuff. They've got a lovely satellite that's like flying out past all the kind of the rest of the solar system, and obviously traveling out that far takes years and years and years and years. So it was launched a long, long time ago, and it's just kind of gone past Pluto or got close to Pluto, and we've got most close-up pictures they've ever had of Pluto, and they think they've discovered another planet which is kind of life-sustaining or similar kind of setup to our own planet. So my question for you, Spud, is: if there was another Earth out there, what difference would that make to your life, if any?
Well, the thing about this one, I don't quote me on it, but I think they said it's roughly about 50 light years away. So considering we can't travel at the speed of light,
no,
and if we could, I would probably be dead by the time the rocket gets there now. 50. It's quite depressing, isn't it? Yeah, nothing at all. But I think for a species, I think, the possibility of actually getting out there is, phenomenal, like amazing. I mean, we could, because it is a race, isn't it? It's like, can the human race get off the planet before the planet blows up? And if we could,
in like several billion years.
Yeah, but we didn't even know we were in the race. It's like we actually had to get to a point billions of years after the Earth was made and go, what? We're in a race? Right. Someone get started on that wheel thing, and then we'll start science from there. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, but there's fixing the world for your children and your children's children. But I mean, I think that my great grandchildren can probably fend for themselves.
Yeah, but when it's a nice feeling to know that a civilized human race would live on potentially forever.
Oh, I've seen Star Trek. I believe that at some point we spread out across the stars under the flag of peace, unity, and the Federation.
And then Doctor Who says when we get out there, we're brilliant and we're amazing, until he runs into some humans in the future that are doing something.
Yeah, but he says that. He always says humans, they're brilliant. But then he often travels to periods of history when we're less brilliant and busy killing each other. And
or in the future where they set up shop on a whale and they're torturing it and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when is this like brilliant bit? He never seems to visit that bit. No, probably because that wouldn't make a great adventure. Today we're going to sit here with these very nice people.
Doctor Who rose tinted glasses. That's the problem with Doctor Who. Anyway, but yes, I mean, it's amazing to know that, and it also talking about aliens now. Ooh, aliens! If there's planets out there that could sustain our life, then there's got to be planets out there that can sustain its own life and possibly have its own life.
But to go all like sciencey here, and obviously I'm not a biologist, I haven't taken a degree in that or anything like that, but it might be rather unexciting. Like exciting, but then not exciting, because assuming evolution to be the method of human development, and assuming that like nature and evolution have tried lots of different things, and so truly the strongest have survived, then you might just get to another planet and discover just things that look very, very, very similar, if not identical, to human beings, because if the most evolved creature happens to have a brain this size, a body this size, 2 hands, I mean, if you just look at if you just look at most creatures on this planet, they've nearly all got 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, a digestive system that goes from mouth to butt, some sort of hands with kind of digits, claws and fingernails. There's so much similarity between the creatures on our planet, but even between creatures that are very, very diverse from each other. I mean, if you think about something like a fish and a bird and a human being, they're really, really diverse species, and yet they've still got so many kind of similarities in terms of their development. So, taking this to the next step, if there was another Earth that was having its own species of its own kind of evolutionary development, I think you might actually discover that it ends up with basically human beings, but with a different language, or maybe a slightly different color, or maybe if the weight on the planet was slightly different, than slightly different height or something like that. But we
would be different. Yeah, but no, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, that's what I mean. Obviously, people started making humanoid aliens from make believe ones anyway.
Yeah,
and then I think I've read an article saying if there was any alien life out there, they probably, if they are evolved to the same level we are, they probably are going to be slightly humanoid with the same things, because that's where it seems
not just because they fit in the costume.
No, because not just because they fit in the rubber suit. Because all different environments on the Earth. You've got rocky, and you've got desert, and you've got ocean. I mean, even a fish, it's got fins, two fins at its side, which are kind of like arms, and you've got the end, which is kind of like legs, and you've got a mouth and two eyes, and they take things through their mouth and they tack it through their bumhole, and that's just the normal thing. So even if it is a watery, and they're just going to be like fishy people, but they're still going to have the whole humanoid thing. So yeah, I completely agree. But
there's a thing called rare earth theory, which is it's pseudo religious, but not necessarily explicitly, but basically kind of talks about how lucky we are to exist at all. And it's something along the lines that if the Earth was like a matter of miles closer to the sun or a matter of miles further away from the sun, like the temperature would be wrong. And if our orbit wasn't so stable, then we wouldn't have seasons. And if we didn't have a moon of a certain size, then we wouldn't have tides. And tides are apparently very important in the evolutionary and process or something like that. And there's all of these things that basically add up to meaning that the chances of life existing at all with the rules of physics in our universe is very, very rare. So therefore, if there was life on another planet, it probably would have to have an almost identical setup to us, which again would lead to an almost identical creature.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But I mean, luck, it depends how you look at it, because is it luck, or is it's the only way it could be, because this is the only planet that could happen, which would be the exact opposite of luck, because it had to happen here. It's not like it's just, it depends on the way you view it. But yeah, I completely...
I think we'll save luck versus fate versus destiny for another edition of SpudAdi.
Yeah, getting deep.
Right, your turn.
Right, okay, I'm on my last one, and that is gaming and technology and business news. We've got this is quite new. So the company Razer has bought out the Ouya. Do you remember the Ouya? One of the most successful Kickstarters of all time.
Was that one like a console that connected to your TV?
Yeah, it's a console
with that Android games or something.
Android games. So it wasn't the most powerful thing, but it was a tiny little box, and they looked quite sexy. Let's be honest. Tech. I resisted because I already had an Android phone, and I was like, well, let me see what's going on. And it had such a...
And it lets you play like Candy Crush on your TV. The principle.
And you can, you could do things you could do on your phones. You can stream films and Netflix through and stuff like that as well. And it had one of the most successful Kickstarters ever. People poured in and went, "Oh, it's brilliant! It looks great," and then it bombed, and it just didn't sell. So everyone was like, "That's really cool. I'm going to play my cool PC, or I'm going to play my Xbox One or PS4, so I can play top range games. And then I've got my tablet for these games, and someone in the house wants to use the telly, so it doesn't really matter." So because of this, Razer have come along. Now Razer's known for making keyboards, mice, controllers.
Do I have anything Razer? Oh, my mouse mat is Razer. It's very old and quite disgusting, but there you go. That's a Razer mouse mat.
Yep, they've come along and they've completely bought them out, so they own the rights to everything. I can't find anything disclosing how much, but considering the bad condition Ouya was in, I can't imagine it being too much. And they've already come out. This is a bit confusing for me. They've come out and they said, "Oh, we're going to be relaunching it as the Cortex for Android TV." So I don't understand why they just didn't make a Cortex for Android TV, because the Ouya is anyone can make a console. Well, anyone with the funding can make a console that plays Android games. So
maybe there's like a copyright on an element of the technology, because patents can be quite specific, like, something that has a wired device going from this to that has a patent, or they can.
So my question for you in this, well, some people say console gaming is dying, but this is the most, as of yet, the most successful generation in its early life cycle. Do you think this new, under the Razer, considering they've got quite savvy with consoles and computers, they've been around for a while. I mean, I've always known them to be there. Do you reckon they're going to have any more success than the Ouya bugger?
I think it's really difficult to tell, because it's all about whether. This is going to sound like a stupid response, but it's all about how successful it is. And I know that's kind of the self-fulfilling thing. Shut up. But like I never ever saw a need for an iPad or a smartphone. I was always like, well, all I need a phone for is to phone people, and I don't need a tablet because I've got a laptop or I've got a PC, and if and I don't need this because I've got a console. So it's kind of like all of my needs are fulfilled. But then I got an iPad. I was given one by my mother-in-law, and I love it. I use it for so much now. It's nearly always by my side. I'm nearly always doing something on it. And now I've got a smartphone, and I do so much on it. And I think it's about because I don't think it's necessarily about anymore fulfilling a human need. It's about finding a product which, once people have, it just becomes part of their daily lives. And the question would be, like, would a device that can do mobile games on the TV, like, would that become something which would become part of someone's daily life? Like, would that become, the next kind of smartphone or the next kind of gadget? Because there have been some high level ones that have disappeared, like Google Glass, for example.
Yeah,
hasn't gone anywhere, and it might come back. And
that was confusing. But I completely agree with you. I wasn't there on the smartphone. I was sold on smartphones the first time I saw them. I was like, oh, it's like a little computer. But tablets, like you just said, it was like, well, I can do that on my smartphone. Why do I care? And I've got the exact same thing with the Apple Watch or Android smartwatches. Is that why would I want that to do that on my wrist when I can do it on my tablet? But now I love my tablet. It's never more than a few feet away from me. And with I've got quite different TV tastes from the old Mrs. Spud. So I watch most of my TV, geeky superheroes mainly, but yeah, I watch most of my TV on my tablet. Netflix and Sky Go and what have you. It's all through my tablet. And now I'm like, why would I ever deny myself this for so long? And a lot of gaming. I play Hearthstone exclusively now on the tablet. So for me, I agree with you. It's like, show me why I need this. Just like the Apple Watch. Show me why I need this. I don't understand why I need it. Like that, at the moment, I'm like, ugh.
Also, like, I'm not even sure there is actually a need for that product, because now when I load up the YouTube app on my Virgin box or the YouTube app on my PlayStation, I can automatically connect my tablet to it. Because effectively what the Ouya does, or that technology does, is allow you to play games that you can already play on this on your TV. So if the connectivity is starting to go there just independently of needing another device, then I assume where we'll eventually get to is people will have some sort of, will choose their company, which will either be Apple, Android, Microsoft, or anything like that, and then they'll have a range of devices that all come from that company, be a TV, a watch, a phone, or whatever, and eventually everything will connect to everything else, and so you'll be like, I want to look at this, and I'm going to send it to my TV, and I'm going to put it onto my watch, and it's going to remind me when that goes. Do you know what I mean? I think that the connectivity will just start to exist between TVs and other systems without needing an Ouya or another independent box.
Yeah,
that's my thought.
I agree. I mean, my smartphone is a Samsung, and because of that, I picked a Samsung tablet, so I wanted to talk to each other, and because of that, I got a lot of apps on the PC that are Samsung. It's just kind of like that. And probably when I get a new TV, guess what? I'm going to get a Samsung, because I can just you literally can just swipe it to the TV now. If I'm watching Netflix, and then suddenly the TV becomes available, and I'm in the middle of an episode, I can just go. That was absolutely.
It means you've got to be kind of careful, because when you like at some point we'll buy Izzy her first tablet / phone / something, but I could actually be deciding her entire life's brand You know,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
Because it's gonna, as long as the company's there and it's successful. I mean, like Apple people, you're getting the same make of phone year after year, and then they got a tablet. Okay, right, I get that.
yeah.
And they got to Apple TV, and people exclusively get Apple stuff now, all because they got the phone first. That's it.
And it's not a bad thing. It makes sense and it works from the business point of view, and it's so convenient. Clara sometimes laughs at me, and I laugh at myself. Like, I've got boxes in the other room that are just full of cables, because I used to pride myself on basically being maybe able to make anything that I had talk to anything else. You know, I could get my computer coming out of my stereo through like 4 or 5 different link cables, and I could get my PlayStation. I could get my PlayStation to go into the computer and then back out of the computer and then to the stereo as well. And then I could have a microphone linked into this as well. And then there was a USB going into something else. And, you know, I had everything linked to everything. And it was through these really, really complicated cable setups. And all of that now is completely unnecessary because everything just talks to itself. And I've completely forgotten where I was going with this point. So I'm just going to keep on talking in a single breath until I run out of air.
Well, yeah, I don't know, but it's a good story about your cables. Thank you. That's good. Well, I've got lots of cable as well. If that pushes you to ease, but
no, that was nothing to do with the story. I don't know what the story was. No, it just feels like I've taken up air. That's upsetting.
No, it's all right. It's good. I'm not allowed to have cables. Cables are like the antichrist to Mrs. Spud. She sees a cable and she's like, ah! She even allowed me to get really expensive wireless headphones for my PS4 because my old headphones had a big long cable. She was like, "Oh, just spend the money. You're allowing me to spend money on computer game stuff? Yes. Are you sure? Sign here so I have proof." So yeah, cable's bad. Okay. Right, you're next.
Okay.
Have you got any more, or are we done?
I think that's bringing us roughly up to the hour-long cast, so we're probably done. So this was SpudAdi. Now, what we'd like to do towards the end of our show is have a regular kind of mailbag section. So, you know, where we can, you know, read your kind of viewpoints on things that we've talked about, or you can ask us random stuff. You know, hey, SpudAdi, what do you think about blah blah blah? Because we'll talk about anything, not necessarily well, but we'll certainly give it a go. You know, so you know. Yes, you know, yes. Hey, SpudAdi, what's your favourite blah, blah, blah? Hey, SpudAdi, what do you think about this? Hey, SpudAdi, have you read this news story? You know, blah, blah, blah. We would love to have a mailbag section on SpudAdi, and I believe you've set us up an email address.
I've got an email address, yep. It's SpudAdiCast, so SpudAdi cast @gmail.com. Nice and simple.
And I've just stuck that into the chat there. So SpudAdiCast @gmail.com, all one word. We'd love to do a mailbag slot next week. So, you know, just ask us random questions or give us feedback. Or if you agree with something we've said today, or you've got a viewpoint on something we've said today, you know, it'd be lovely. But, you know, give us something that we can put in our mailbag section, and, you know, we'll read your name out, and you'll instantly become internationally famous, and people will stop you on the street and say, "Hey, I heard you on the mailbag section of SpudAdi.
It's you! Oh,
it's you!
Hey, I told you!
Did you write it with these fingers? I wrote it with these fingers, man.
Let me buy you lunch."
Yeah.
And
almost guaranteed free lunches if you put something in our mailbag.
and always choose the most expensive lunch, like the Big Daddy meal or something like that. We also have a
big tasty with cheese and bacon.
A new Twitter as well for the just for the podcast @SpudAdiCast on Twitter. You can find us there as well. And
I didn't even know about that. I better follow that.
Yeah, but it's already followed you, so you should follow it back. Damn it.
Awesome.
Man. So yeah, perhaps that you could put hashtag Ask SpudAdi and ask away.
Brilliant. Yeah, you can tweet it to us as well if you've got like short questions and things.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that was SpudAdi. Thank you for listening, whether you're watching, whether you're on the podcast, whether you're on Twitch, or whether you're on YouTube. Hope you've had fun and you've enjoyed it, and please come back next week. Any final thoughts?
I've had a great time, and it was very, very good listening to you about your cables. That was really interesting. I liked it. And you've got your phone's going off, isn't it? It's my phone's going off because hopefully loads of people are following SpudAdi. Yeah. SpudAdi. Good. Well, with that unprofessional finish, we'll see you guys next week, and I'll play the theme tune just one more time because it was fun. Yeah. All right. Catch you soon, guys. Bye bye. SpudAdi, you spud and I'm Addy. Just listen, you'll glisten, cause you'll be so happy. Our podcast is random talk on this and on that. But why do
did you expect from potatoes and fat? Yeah, what did you expect from potatoes and fat?